It's like 70 degrees. I'm still freezing.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm out of frame, but I'll just talk really loud. So welcome everybody. We've got Joe. Joe's the bald guy.
That's
Rachel's the good-working one.
And you have a voice, so that's nice.
Yeah, Rachel, you can talk again.
Thank you, Lord. Yes.
So we're here in Utah. You guys are not in Utah.
We are not.
There's no. But yeah, we wanted to get you guys on here so you could tell your story, answer people's questions, all of that.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah. How many people do you have there?
We have 2 rows that you can't see on the outside.
Here, I'll count while you guys talk.
Chris is counting.
For some reason, I thought you had this outside.
They'd be freezing.
I don't know.
They'd be snowing.
I think everybody does everything outside because that's all we have down here is everything is outside. Now here you just have to risk the rain.
Yeah, they'd have to be all bundled up.
So we got 33 people here.
Well,
Awesome.
hello.
So where do you want to start?
Does anybody have any questions?
Tell us your story, your story.
Okay. So I guess I'll start. So I have been obese my entire life. Probably by the time I was about, 9 or 10 years old, I started gaining weight. And so I always kind of grew up being told that, hey, you need to lose weight. I was always concerned about diabetes because when I was growing up, I'm almost 50 years old. So when I was growing up, diabetes was a no sugar sentence. If you got diabetes, you were done with sugar for the rest of your life. You were most likely going to be giving yourselves injections for the rest of your life. So I grew up with a mom and dad who were always like, you do not want to get diabetes. You don't want to get diabetes, which of course made me freak out more about the fact that I was putting on weight. And so I was always overweight, but I would go up and down and up and down. And I always had yo-yo diets. And then I had a severe car accident in 1990, which shattered my ankle in 30 places. And I spent 2 years on crutches. And so at that time, I actually built up a big upper chest. I lost a bunch of weight, but then once I got off the crutches, weight came back on, and I ended up over my course of my life topping out probably close to 290 pounds. And then
I was close behind you.
You were close.
I was trying. I got up to 255. I didn't beat you though. Dang it.
So I have tried everything in the world. I did Nutrisystem years and years. When I was in college, I did Nutrisystem back when they still had centers and the food wasn't like you go to the stores and like you get it now like freeze dried back. And it's worse now than it was then, but it was still pretty bad then. Ugh. I did Jenny Craig. The only thing I never did was Weight Watchers. I just didn't understand Weight Watchers. So what happened was for me though, for keto 3 years ago, we are children's pastors in a local church and went to an event and the pastor started talking about a weight loss bet. And only this weight loss bet was going to be a little different. There were 10 guys. Each guy was putting $100 in. And then what we were going to do was at the end of, I think we were doing like 4 or 5 months. I think it was almost 6 months.
Gambling with your pastor.
Yeah. So what we were doing was, it was who lost the most amount of percentage of body fat. It wasn't pounds. We all went and got measured, and it was over 6 months who lost the biggest percentage of body fat. And the winner would get the whole pot. And if nobody won, we were in the middle of a building campaign to build a building because we were a mobile church, that all of the money would go into the building funds.
This is a win-win.
So it was a win-win. And it was really good. My son actually joined with us, and he ended up winning.
Yeah,
and he gave all the money back to the building campaign. So that was really awesome.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening though, I started doing CrossFit. And when I was doing the CrossFit, it was great. One of our church members owned the CrossFit, so they gave us a big discounted price. And then he closed the CrossFit.
So now what?
And I was just like, I can't afford a regular CrossFit because a regular CrossFit's like $150 a month. So I started looking around like, what do I do? And I heard a couple people talking about keto. there were some people in our church who sort of did paleo keto because Danny Vega was at our church.
Yeah.
And he had just left, but he had left behind an influence of a lot of people turning paleo. So I just started. There wasn't a whole lot of research about it at the time. You had really on YouTube, you had Keto Connect, Dr. Berg, and Dr. Berry was just starting his channel at the time. So there wasn't a whole lot out there. So I just dove in and said, okay, it's Atkins, but high fat. And that's what I started doing. And Rachel joined me at the beginning. And then she was losing inches, but not pounds. So she got frustrated and decided she was not going to do it for a while.
Well, like Joe, I have struggled with weight loss my entire life. It was super fun being an overweight middle schooler, right? Yeah. Like that is the funnest time of your life to be chubby. It was delightful. And then I had Caleb, and 12 years later, people were like, when are you going to lose the baby fat? And I'm like, the baby is 4,800 months old and I still haven't lost the baby fat. It's probably time. But the only way that I knew how to lose weight was severe calorie restriction. That's the only thing I knew how to do. You were either eating or you were not eating at all.
Right.
And so I went to severe calorie restriction. I was eating 500 calories per day. I was totally miserable. And I had lost weight, but then suddenly on my diet of only oatmeal and some Greek yogurt, and that was all I was eating, and I was miserable, I started gaining weight. In fact, I gained 30 pounds only eating 500 calories a day. Of course, now we know that all of the carbs that I was basically only eating carbs.
She had killed her metabolism. She had lost 100 pounds over 6 months and then was so afraid to put it back on. She's like, I'm just going to keep eating this way.
Yeah.
And so if she would have a day, like if she literally would have a day where she would eat 650 calories, or if we maybe go out to eat or something, she'd put on 2 or 3 pounds. And it just slowly
crept back up.
Pretty much eating 500 calories over a year, gained 30 pounds.
So when Joe said he was going to go on keto, I was like, I have to go on this to save our marriage, because if he comes in here and he's eating a hamburger and I'm looking at a plate of nothing, like the cops are going to have to be called to this residence because I'm going to kill him for enjoying life. So we went on it together, and just like women do, we lose inches on this diet. I don't know if y'all have found that. We lose inches way before we lose pounds. So he was dumping pounds.
At the end of 30 days, I had lost almost 30 pounds, and Rachel had like lost a pound and wasn't even measuring. I mean, I could see her getting smaller, but she'd only lost a pound. And she's like, I'm going back to my old way. I just can't do this.
But it was miserable living like that. And thankfully, with the new year, I went ahead and went back on it, and it was keto.
It went about 6 months. So over a 6-month period, I ended up losing almost 100 pounds. And she was just eating her like oatmeal and stuff.
My sad life.
And honestly, my plan was never to stay keto. I had learned enough being on keto that I was never going to go back to eating sugar, that I was never going to go back to eating white bread and stuff like that. But my plan was always go back and occasionally have some potatoes, maybe occasionally have some rice, eat a low carb lifestyle, but I wasn't going to be keto forever. But
how'd that work out for you?
Well, what happened was, I'm a high school football official and lacrosse official. And like I said, I had that car accident. When I had that car accident, it had left me with a severe debilitating arthritis. And so for 27 years, I've had to take arthritis medication every day. We would go to a Disney amusement park. Rachel had to push me around in a wheelchair.
That was hot.
And at the end of that football season, I looked at Rachel or that lacrosse season. I said, this is my last season. The doctor said I need an ankle replacement, that I'm not going to be able to go on anymore. But an ankle replacement is a 1 to 2 year recovery. Mm-hmm. And so we figured that at this point I was just done. And so after I'd lost the weight at the end of that football season, I kind of looked at Rachel and I was like, I didn't take one arthritis medication or painkiller for the entire season, and I was never in any pain. And I still didn't make the link to that it was keto.
We're slow. We're
And then
slow on the uptake.
what ended up happening was at Christmas, I ate about 100 to 150 carbs for dinner, and I was sick for a week.
It was not pretty.
And all of the inflammation came back. And that's when I made the decision that I would stay keto for the rest of my life for the health benefits.
And it was the same for me. Got rid of, well, I've always struggled with depression, anxiety. All of that is gone. Cleared up my skin. No more migraine headaches. We encouraged my mother, who had been a type 2 diabetic for more than 20 years, to join us. She has now completely reversed her type 2 diabetes and lost nearly 100 pounds herself. Also, she had been scheduled to go to have surgery to put several stents in her heart for some blockages. By the time we got to the hospital and they were wheeling her back to the operating room, she had a couple of months on keto. They wheeled her right back out. And I thought, what happened? And she said, the blockages are gone. So, I mean, the weight loss is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I like being able to fit in like normal size pants. I love, it's kind of like when a toddler gets out of 5T, right? For once, I have pants that don't have a W at the end of the size. All right. This is happy day. But it's the health benefits. It's the thought that my mom is going to be the same grandmother for the 23-year-old grandchild as she is for the 6-year-old grandchild.
Right.
And we sort of thought that our 23-year-old would be telling the 6-year-old what grandma was like, because maybe she wasn't going to live to see this child be in their 20s. So it's just really exciting, and there's no going back. And it's kind of like whenever you have good news, you just want to share it, right? I want every single person to be able to at least hear our story and maybe see that there's a possibility for them to get better, to get healthier. Maybe there's something that you've been dealing with for a long time and you thought, well, this is a life sentence. What if it's not?
Right.
Exciting.
So that's pretty much our story on keto.
Does anybody have any questions for Joe and Rachel?
Why is my hair purple? My hair is every color of the rainbow.
Every time you see Rachel, she'll have a different hairstyle
Yeah.
and a different color.
Yeah. So in case anybody has that question.
Oh, how tall are you, Joe?
I am 6 foot. I currently weigh 180 pounds, which is actually about 7 pounds up from what my lowest weight has been. I mean, I hit 179 once, but pretty much I've hovered around between 180 and 182 for the last 2.5 years. But we did an experiment with Keto Savage last August until December of trying to we screwed our metabolisms up so bad where I was maintaining my weight at about 15 to 1600 calories. And Robert was like, you are eating way too little, because Rachel was maintaining at 1200. And he was like, I want to see Rachel eating 1800. And he's like, I want to see you eating like 2400.
So when he said that, of course, I wanted to kiss him right on the mouth. Like, yes, I think this is a great idea. So I am 5'7.5". I want that half. And I am 146 pounds, which is probably, I want to say like 2 or 3 pounds heavier than my lightest on keto. But yeah, I'm eating like buku.
The good news is the reverse diet. It was frustrating watching weight come on. But the good news is that, I'm currently eating almost 2000 calories a day and I'm losing weight. Whereas I was maintaining at 1600 before, and Rachel's eating 1700 calories a day and is losing weight. So the whole point was just add 20 calories, 25 calories a week on for a period of 2 to 3 months where you're slowly increasing it.
Right.
And then we stayed there for about a month and a half which is where we put on a couple of pounds. But the whole idea was get your body used to eating at a much higher metabolism. So now that we've deducted only a little bit, because I maxed out at like 2,300, 2,400, deduct just a little bit and watch the weight come off. And then when you get to the weight you want, go back to that 23, 2,400. So the goal is for me to be maintaining somewhere around 2,400 calories by the end of next month, and Rachel being like 18 or 1,900.
Doesn't sound so pretty.
So
that sounds so pretty. I love it.
Well, and that's the thing for us. We're always trying to experiment, hack. I mean, I love Dr. Berry, and we got to spend some time with him this past week. And where he talks about keto, you can start it on hot dogs and mustard. That's all you need. And then the more you do keto, the more you like start experimenting and start realizing, hey, I don't eat this anymore. I don't eat that anymore, is where you can start tweaking things. Like the first thing that we got rid of, aside from the first thing we got rid of was the bad oils, which I always tell people. But the first thing we ever switched over on was pasture-raised eggs. And I remember going to Rachel going, we're going to start paying $5 a dozen for eggs. And she's like, no, we're not.
No, we're not.
But what we started realizing is we started eating that, and we eat almost a dozen eggs a day between the two of us. But we spend less money now on food than we did before, and we eat higher quality food.
Right.
So it makes no sense. But when you start eliminating all of like the carbohydrates and the chips and the crackers and all of that stuff, your food bill and the medicine. Yeah. I was spending $150 a month on arthritis medication. So that's all gone.
Well, one thing that we talked about when we were in Omaha was we stopped paying a pest control person. We live in South Florida, and bugs galore. They're a thing. And we realized since we have gotten rid of sugars and even like the packets of like McCormick gravies and taco seasonings that have sugar in it, we don't have bugs. Yeah. So that is something that we didn't plan for when we got onto keto, but like that $50 every other month that we were spending on a pest control guy, that's going in my ribeye budget. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've never been to South Florida, we have something called palmetto bugs, which are basically cockroaches, and every house has them.
Except ours.
And they will eat through anything, and they love sugar, and they would actually eat holes right through the taco seasoning packets.
Yeah. Ugh.
So.
Wow. For somebody what's the best place to do research?
I'll tell you the same thing that Nurse Cindy says. Go online, find the YouTube channels for the physicians.
Yeah.
You know, like Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Kim Berry, Nurse Cindy. You know, I watch a lot of different Dr. Boz. Yeah, I watch a lot of different YouTubers. Like, we can give you some information. The purpose of our channel really is to provide a family and a support group for those who don't have it, because we didn't have it.
No.
And there are a lot of people out there. So we give a little bit of information, but we're not doctors. We're not nurses. We're not health practitioners.
No.
But I always say, like, go to the doctors, and those, if you're looking for specific stuff, like you want to know, why is it okay to have my cholesterol to be higher? You know, you want to go to those people. And then take what you feel. You're going to see everybody talks about things a little bit different. Like Dr. Berry has shifted over to eating a mostly carnivore diet, but he still says you can start keto with mustard and hot dogs. You know, Dr. Berg, for example, he says that eat as many vegetables as you want and don't count the carbs. I personally don't agree with that. So, you know, I eat my vegetables when I'm doing a vegetable part of a protocol for myself, but I still count the carbs.
But I think different people, it changes for them in different ways.
And test on yourself.
Exactly. Because if someone gives you advice, tweaking it will depend on the person. There's a big change between a man and a woman. You know, somebody that's on this and they're in their 20s, and somebody that's on this and they're old as Methuselah like we are.
Like, there's a huge difference between us. I can barely, if we go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I can't eat more than 8 or 9 wings, and I'm ridiculously full.
Not here.
Rachel can drink 3 quarters in 10 minutes.
Yes. I have a hollow wooden leg, and I can fill it up. Like, take me with you. If you're going out to an all-you-can-eat place, I will get your money's worth. Don't worry. Not Joe, though. No.
Anybody else having any questions?
Describe
Lori.
your exercise
I
regimen.
don't know if they can see me. Do you guys incorporate any kind of fasting?
We do intermittent fasting. I mean, for a long time we solely intermittent fast. Now the more research I've done and watching videos from like Thomas DeLawler and stuff, because of our age, I like to change it up because what I found was I intermittent fasted exclusively for 2 years. And as soon as I stopped intermittent fasting without adding any calories, without changing anything else up, I started putting pounds on. And I think because my body got so used to this is how you eat, as soon as I changed it, it didn't know what to do with it. And I think it's amazing the way our body is that it can adapt. So the one thing that I have learned to do is constantly changing things up. So I'll intermittent fast like 4 days a week. And then maybe 1 day or 2 days I'm going to do OMAD. 1 or 2 days I'm going to do like a 16, a 16-8 protocol. Then I have a day where I don't intermittent fast. And then I'd say at least once a month, we do a 36-hour fast, sometimes longer.
Just changing it up.
Just changing it
helps.
up. Usually whenever I don't feel good, if I'm like, hey, I just don't feel great today, I'll do a 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast just to kind of get junk out of my system. Usually it's because I did something stupid. Like I ate a keto food, but not something that my body agrees with. Like we used to go to Winn-Dixie, and down here we have Winn-Dixie grocery stores, and they sell wings.
They're delicious.
They don't have any breading or anything on them, and they're only using Frank's Red Hot on them, but they fry them in canola oil. And every time I would eat those wings, even though it's a keto food, I would be 7 or 8 pounds up in water weight the next morning, and I would feel like garbage.
Yeah, you get a lot of joint pain.
So I finally said, I've got to just eliminate that. But if I, for some reason, were to eat something like that, I'll usually fast afterwards just because it's the only way I'm going to feel better.
The only thing that is the constant in my life is coffee. I drink coffee for Joe's safety and the safety of my family.
4th pot of the day.
We need it. We need to keep that. But I do drink my coffee black usually. So that was a process working out, because I used to be that type of person that drank a little bit of coffee with my cream and sugar. And so I, went cold turkey kind of on that. And it's been good. Now I actually taste coffee. Kind of cool.
So we had a question over here about your exercise regimen or lack thereof.
What's that? What's exercise?
So most exercise, I mean, we'll do some bike riding or some walking or something like that. We do have some resistance bands, which we play with once in a while at the recommendation of Keto Chow.
They hurt though.
But honestly, we live such busy lives. Like I said, we are like part-time children's pastors, and our church is currently at 6 services every weekend. So we do that. We run our YouTube channel. I do landscaping. Rachel does shipping. And then I also am coming into high school lacrosse season. So we don't have a lot of time for exercise, which is what's awesome about keto, is that you don't need to, so long as you're like paying attention to good nutrition. Now, when lacrosse season comes around, I just lead an active life. I don't do working out, but I do.
But you're running about 10 miles a day.
I do work about 14 games a week during lacrosse season. So it's usually an average of 2 games, 5 days a week. And then Saturday is 6 games.
Yeah.
And so during that time, last year, I upped my calories to almost 7,000 calories and still could not maintain weight because I was so busy.
And usually when he's in lacrosse season, I go back to, I either bike or walk 5 miles a day. One of those 2.
But that's pretty much the extent. Just and Rachel's bike riding is
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. It's
Sound
just
of
casual,
music.
Get outside, keep yourself going.
Yeah. It's like getting the sunshine. Yeah. There's a lot of this going on, and I have time to sing and explore nature. So yeah, I'm not trying to, make an Olympic team or anything. That's for sure. Sorry. And I hate the gym. The gym is like, I can't do it. That's why I walk, is because I can just put my sneakers on and walk out the door.
Now, if we had a couple people there, I would love to be working out with them.
Like keto conduct?
Yes, because I know Keto Conduct is right now working with Miriam. I would love to do that. In fact, I was talking to Danny Vega, and I'm going to try to set up with Danny Vega. He is going to work with me a little bit on. He's like, you can do things just sitting in your chair, controlling your muscles, and will help you build and tone just by thinking about flexing muscles. I'm like, that's what I need.
I can think about bacon. I can think about like stuff. Does that count? What if I'm eating like really fast? I can think it. I don't know about going to the gym though. That's all you.
Any other questions that people have?
They can come a week early.
Devin wants to know if you're coming early to Keto Salt Lake.
I think we are going to come out. I don't even know what day. I was just looking at flights. I think we're going to come out like on Wednesday is the plan.
Be there by Wednesday night, at least. It's not set yet, but we're planning on having a bunch of the speakers do like a book signing and just kind of like a keto night.
I believe, because I was looking, the only flight that was nonstop, because we know how I feel about layovers, did leave here at like 7 in.
Oh
It was nonstop, leaving on Sunday, left at like 10 o'clock at night, and got here at 5 a.m. on Monday. So that is most likely, unless we change days, that will be we'll be there from Wednesday morning until Sunday night.
I'm really hoping that we can find Delta because we've gone Delta and we've gone
Delta.
Spirit. Okay, good. Spirit was like, you want to use the bathroom? That's going to be a quarter. Like, that's not just free.
I
Okay.
think the only option South Florida, Utah was for nonstop was JetBlue and Delta.
Okay, good. Because Spirit was like patio furniture. I'm pretty sure that we were sitting on patio furniture. It did not seem safe. I had to hold a chicken, and they said that we were going to do some crop dusting, and I don't think that that's normal for commercial airlines. That doesn't seem normal. I mean, it's cheap, but at what cost, really?
It really isn't even that cheap when you figure they literally charge for everything. You want a seat? We're going to charge you.
You want to sit together?
You got to bring a purse?
extra.
That's a fee. You got to bring a carry-on? That's a fee.
I'm afraid that if the oxygen tanks come down, they're going to be like, well, if you want it to start flowing actual oxygen, that's going to be a charge. So let's swipe it. I want oxygen. I don't care if it's extra.
Plus, we want to come out early and go to the salt mine.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, if you come out to Wednesday morning, that should be optimal.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Miriam did make your crackers.
Oh yes.
So we had that with smoked salmon.
Okay.
Wow.
What did you think of the crackers?
Nice and crunchy.
Yum.
I can't make them. I've been banned from making them in the house.
I'll eat the whole box.
As soon as we make them, within 10 minutes, everything's gone.
Where do they go? And I have to be like, I don't know. Where did they go? Just answer every question with a question. Where could they have gone? I don't know. What do you think happened to them?
It's like our children. Our children do not live a keto lifestyle, but they like all of our keto foods because, of course, it's fat and fat tastes delicious.
They're delicious.
So I made we did a video before we left on our chocolate chip peanut butter cookie dough.
Cookie dough.
And we needed to film the finished part. We ran out of time, and I came home and they ate 50 fat bombs in 3 days.
Yeah, gone. Let's been partying while we were here, partying with fat bombs. That's a happy party,
it's
though.
Cream cheese and butter and peanut butter.
Man, it's just happy.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Okay, well, let's do the drawing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do a drawing really quick.
Okay.
We got your 2 Krazy Ketos blender bottles.
Awesome.
So
I was wondering why you got a second set of those.
Yeah, that's awesome.
all right, Patty, let's have Patty choose it.
Okay.
I always tend to pick Tyler every single
So
time.
let's have you draw. Okay, there's one. It is Ross Larrabee.
Congratulations, Ross.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of them. We'll do 2 drops.
All right. Who's the other one?
Splitting up the pair.
We're splitting up.
Melissa says
It
Mexican.
is Debbie Kelly.
Congratulations, Debbie.
No, it's not.
I was just thinking, why couldn't I have magically?
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's see. Here,
That would have worked. Get your face.
thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
All right. See you later.